Okay, so I'm gonna record my screen here so you guys can see what's going on. So, all right, so this is on 7-1, has to do with ratios. Okay, ratios. So ratios are a way to describe a relationship between two things. So, for example, the easiest one I'll give you, let's talk about the ratio between teachers and students, right? So we know we have about 12 students, let's say, in class. Okay, we have one teacher. If I wanted to compare the ratio between students and teachers, I would say is 12 to 1. Or another way to write it would be 12 dot dot 1. Okay. A way you can't write it would be 1 over 12 or 12 over 1. That would be wrong. Okay. So we always want, in this case, students were first, so I put that there. Teachers were second, I put that there. Okay. However, you can use fractions sometimes with this. One of the ways you might be able to use fractions is what you would do is take, let's say, for example, I wanted to know the part out of the whole. And what I mean by part out of the whole is how many are there out of the entire lot that we have? Well, if I look here, I have 12 students and one teacher, right? So the total is going to be 13, right? So one of the things I could do is I could talk about the parts. I could put the part out of the whole. So I could talk about students. Okay, let's not really do that here. Add another dragon there. Getting used to a new toy here. So I can say that in this case we have we said total was 13. I could say that if I was talking about students, for some reason it doesn't like me here. So let's do this. Let's clear all this out of here. Ooh. Get rid of all this mess here. Okay. So let's say I go back to that idea of talking about students, right? It's not gonna let me do that, I guess, but that's okay. So I'll go back to talking about students again. So if I said there were 12 students and there's one teacher, or 13 total. So I have 13 total things or people. Okay, I could talk about just the students, and I could say that the students, there would be 12 students out of 13. That's okay to do. Just like I could say here, there's one teacher out of 13 total. So this one is okay when I do fractions like this. Okay. Normally, when I'm going to compare them, I'm going to write them something similar to this. I'd write them something similar to this. I would say, once again, I would write 12 to. So normally I would write it 12. Oops. I would write it 12 to 1, or I could write it 12 to 1. Okay, so that's kind of how we're going to write ratios. So let's look at an example of a couple. Okay, let's see. For a picture here, so I'm going to go to page in your book, it's going to have the picture of the jelly beans on there. There we go. That's the one I want. Okay. So to take this jelly bean picture, I'll make this a little bigger so we can see it. Okay. Okay. So let's take a look at this here. Okay. All right. So there are a couple things we can do here with this. So let's look at. I got the wrong one again. Let's go. That's the one we want. Okay. Okay. So now that we're there. All right. So let's look at this first one here. So in this first one here, it's given us some options to look at a couple different things. So it's asking us to look at. So what is the ratio of lemon jelly beans to grape jelly beans? So the lemon jelly beans are the yellow ones. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So over here I'm going to write that there are 5, in this case, lemon jelly beans. Okay, and I'm going to go look at the other ones. In this case, the other ones are the grape ones. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we've got. Ooh, it's so hard to see. We've got 8. We've got 8 of the grape ones. Okay. So if we look at the total, we can add them all up here. Total is going to be 13. So they want to know in the first one, what is the ratio of lemon jelly beans to grape jelly beans? So lemon is the first one. So in this case, if I want to, we'll zoom in here a little bit. So the answer to this one would be either a couple. We can do it a couple different ways. We could go, we could call this one 5, 2, 8, or I could write it as 5 dot dot 8. Either one of those would be okay. All right. So look at the next one here. So the next one was how many grape jelly beans would have to be added so that the ratio was 1 lemon jelly bean. 1 lemon for every 2 grape. Okay, so that means that we want to have, in this case, we're going to have more grape, 2 times as many grape ones. So the way we would do that is, well, if I want it to be 2 to 1, all right, I'd have to add 2 more, and the reason it's 2 more is because I want the ratio to be 5. I want the ratio to be 5 to 10, right? Which is also 1 to 2. Okay? Remember, the first ones were our lemon, second ones were our grape. So I'd have to add 2 for that to be the case. Okay? So show the solution by drawing the added grape jelly bean. So, here what they want you to do is, in this one, right, they want you to draw a container like this, right? And so let's say the lemon ones are a yellow, so we'll do a little yellow one like this. Okay, and let's say the grape ones are purple. There'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's what it'd look like. Okay, cool. With the jelly beans added, right, the ratio of jelly beans to lemons in the whole jar. So this one they want us to write it. Notice they talked about it in fraction form. Okay, fraction form. So this is where it's okay to use a fraction. So we have to go back to how many total things are here. You want to know the total. Okay, in this case, a total, there's, if I count them out, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 purple, and 15 yellow. So there's 15 total. Okay, so with the jelly beans added, right, the ratio of lemon jelly beans to the whole jar of jelly beans in a fraction. So that would be, lemon would be 5 over 15, or we can make it a simple fraction, 1 out of 3. All right, with the added jelly beans, write the ratio of grape jelly beans to the whole jelly beans in the fraction form. Same idea. This time it's going to be 10 to 15, or 2 out of 3. Okay, cool. Hopefully this is kind of coming along here. So I'm going to move this up a little bit. Okay, cool. So I'm going to clear all this out, if I can figure out how to do that. Okay, clear all that out. And now we're going to look, we'll go back to the picture. Move it up a little bit here. I promise I'll get better at this little toy thing as time goes on. Okay. Delete that one. All right, so let's take a peek here. Okay, so the next part. So let's see. Okay, great. So here's the grid with the different kinds of boxes. So in this grid, let's take a look at the grid real quick. Couple things I think it's worthwhile to talk about here would be okay. So I think one thing to be worthwhile looking at here would be this. Let's count how many boxes across. So in this case, we have, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes this way. Okay, so we have 4 boxes that way, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes that way. So it's a 4 by 4 square. So there's from a total standpoint, there's 16 total. Okay. So using the colon form, write the ratio of, I don't know what those are, little plus signs to arrows. Okay. So in that sense, little plus signs to arrows. So we're going to use, once again, they asked us to use this colon form. So they'll tell you what form you're going to write it in. So the first thing I have to put is the little cross signs there, little crosses. There's going to be 2, ... and the arrows 4. That's it. As you can see, I already did this one over here. using the fraction form, right, the ratio of smiley face to the total number. So this is why I think it was important to get the total number. Okay. So the total number in this case was 16, and I counted smiley faces were 6. Okay, so I got that for my answer, which can be reduced because 2 goes into 6 3 times, and 2 goes into 8. 2 goes into 16 8 times. Okay. So the next one, write the ratio of arrows to the total number of grid boxes. So this one, hopefully you're kind of getting this. The total would be 4 to 16. Okay. I can write it that way. And they want the ratio of total numbers. No, it didn't ask for the fraction form. That's why I wrote it out that way. So it was the ratio or the proportion of arrows to total boxes. Write the ratio of empty box to total number of boxes. Well, there was 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 to 16. Now in both cases with these here, I can make them smaller, right? I can divide both by 4. So this would be 1/4, 1/4. Okay. Write the ratio of little stars or crosses to smiley faces. 2, ... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Okay, so there's the first page. I want you guys to try pages 7.3 and 7.4. Okay, we'll give you like 5 minutes to try 7.3 and then 7.4. Okay.